What's up everyone, Cardboard.Capitan here, and today I want to share this Selesnya tokens deck. Now, tokens used to be a really popular deck because of this Dollmaker card, which I'll go into. But the basic idea is you produce a bunch of tokens and you win through them. Now, this Dollmaker, when it comes into play, it can turn one other non-land, non-token permanent into a artifact token. So by doing so, you get another opportunity to have an enter the battlefield effect, as well as being able to be duplicated through 3 blind mice or caretaker's talent. So depending on what you have in play, you can Dollmaker 3 blind mice and start reproducing or copying 3 blind mice each turn for a whole lot of mice tokens. You can Dollmaker caretaker's talent, and it'll draw off itself, and you can copy that token of itself to produce another caretaker's talent, essentially making infinite talents, right? But you don't want to do that because you draw your deck. You can also Dollmaker the enchantment version, the impending cost Overlord of the Mistmoors, and then you'd get a 6/6 Overlord token, as well as the 2 insect creatures from playing it with impending, and you get 2 more from it entering a battlefield. So a whole lot of power in one turn potentially. The rest of the deck control pieces like Parting Gust. Now, Parting Gust, you don't necessarily have to use it to remove your opponent's creatures. You can also use it to rescue a Dollmaker and get another chance at artificing, tokenizing one of your permanents. It also resets the indestructible activated ability. I believe, I'm not 100% sure on that. Day of Judgment, wipe the board in case you need to buy more time. It used to be No More Witnesses would be a good choice, but since green got Fountain Port Charmer, they have a stronger early game where they can drop down more creatures than this deck. So Day of Judgment, no condition there. Now the reason playing green is this for the common good, and it does a whole lot. For one, you can gain life equal to the number of tokens you have in play. For 2, you can also copy tokens in play, so it's kind of like doppelgang in a sense. And for 3, you can give all your tokens indestructible. So in that case, you don't even have to pay anything for X. You can say X equals 0, just play it for 1 green, and you can gain a whole bunch of life, as well as giving your tokens indestructible. So for some plays, you might want to for the common good for a green, and then Day of Judgment, and then swing in, right? A Stroke of Midnight, finally, that's just like a generic removal. I used to run Banishing Light, but what I found was that it would get removed, and considering that a whole lot of decks are running This Town Ain't Big Enough, didn't like it. Now, I haven't had a situation where I would Stroke of Midnight one of my own permanents, but it is a play if you're desperate to draw off Caretaker's talent. Builder's Talent, make the token, pumps up creatures as enchantments come into play, as well as fetches enchantments that have gone to the graveyard. Paladar Retreat. That's a new card from Foundations, and it's good. Makes tokens, powers up your tokens, and gives it vigilance. Pretty straightforward. Has some synergy with Fabled Passage, so you get 2 landfall triggers in a turn. Land base, mostly plains, some greens, fountain ports for token action, but running 8 surveillance, 8 Scrylands, because in a sense this is a combo deck. You want to sequence your cards in such a way that you're playing talent, then you're drawing off talent. You're playing 3 blind mice, and you doll make your talent. Everything has to be performed in a certain order, and to do so, you need to have your cards drawn a certain order, and those 2 lands help do so. Sideboard, Authority of Consoles, Haste. If haste is a problem, you have this. So stuff like mice, stuff like Calamity, and Enduring Courage. This is a good answer to them. Crystal Barricade, Heist, Heist. 2 different words, but Crystal Barricade is great against Heist because you can't be targeted by those Heist cards, and they'd either need a kill spell or this town ain't big enough for it. Because Ribald Shandy takes a bit of time to ramp up for it. It's also good versus deserts, but I don't see too much deserts nowadays. I think it's fallen out of the meta, unfortunately, because I love playing deserts. Exercise, Artifacts, Enchantment Hate, gone for good through that exile. And rest in peace. I remember seeing a whole lot of Overlord decks, Overlord of the Bale Merc, and this card shuts it down because if they Overlord Balemork, that's 5 cards in the graveyard. It doesn't even hit the graveyard, it just gets exiled, right? I think this is the strongest card for against graveyard-based strategies. So, besides Overlord, any Reanimator you might see, any Nashi Recursion you might see, this card answers it succinctly. So with that said, let's go some gameplay. Alright, so opponent's gonna go first. Not a good hand, not a lot of land, so I'm a mulligan. Kinda doubtful, but I do have a surveil land. So it's workable. Okay. And I do have a Parting Gust in case I run up against a creature I don't want to deal with. Opponent's setting up their land base. Not too much going on. Okay, Overlord. More lands. Opponent's playing some sort of Asban. Abzan. Now, with Caretaker's Talent, I can drop the 3 blind mice. Draw off that. Opponent's still setting up, though. Oh, but I do get a Overlord. So at the very least, I can start applying pressure through the flying tokens. Yeah, another land, so that's good. Wary zone guard. So right now the opponent's ramping a lot, but not putting too much pressure on me. Virtue's one of the tokens. Oh, and here comes a doll maker. So I'd say this is a good time to doll maker the overlord, because I doubt opponent has anything to remove the overlord for 1 mana. So make a bunch of tokens. And I can common good for 1. So now all of the tokens I have in play are indestructible, and I also get another overlord token. Now the life gain is just a bonus. I don't see it as being too relevant in this matchup. Opponent concedes. All I could tell was that the opponent was playing some sort of ramp. So, not sure which sideboard. Considering it's green-black, there's likely Perforator Crocodile. That's a thing I have to worry about. Because it gets around the indestructibility of both Dollmaker and for the common good. But if I can beat the opponent before those stab wounds do too much damage, I'm alright. This hand is a bit different than last round. I'll take it. Curves out a little bit better. And I got 2 Builder's Talent, so that's good. Looking healthy in terms of land drops. However, not as good of a card draw without Caretaker's Talent. And there's a crocodile I was talking about. Gotta watch out for it. Now, I don't know if the opponent's running any reanimation, but it could come down on turn 4. I don't have too much that I want to play right now, so I'm just gonna power up 1 talent and then play another Builder's Talent. So I think in the coming turns, definitely. Oh, there's a crocodile I was worried about. In the coming turns, definitely drop the Overlord this round. Peladar Retreat, even though it costs 4 mana, I see it more as a 5 mana casting cost spell, because you want to drop that enchantment and then drop land, and you can do that in this deck at least, earliest turn 5. Depending on how opponent taps their mana. Determines how I play into this coming round. I believe they're going to have 3 untapped mana. But I am getting pressure from these stab wounds. I wanted to save that Fabled Passage for the Felidar Retreat, but oh well. I'm gonna go for the same play I did last round. Nowhere to run's only gonna hit Dollmaker. Not gonna do too much for the artificing process, I guess. So artifice the whatchamacallit, the Overlord, then duplicate with common good. If the opponent has another whatchamacallit, crocodile, I'm a little bit worried. Okay, so this is good. Can drop the retreat and then Temple of Plenty, and then I'll get a landfall trigger. Keep that on top. Opponent gives up then. So yeah. You know, this was more of a demonstration of, hey, this is what goes on in the ideal situation, but you know, I explained some of the counterplay options in the deck overview, so you know, go off that and play the deck to learn how to do how to perform in certain matchups. So with that said, if you enjoyed the video, that's my Twitter, the X, Cardboard.Capitan, Moxfield, where you can find this deck and various other decks for Alchemy, username Cardboard.Capitan. And if you enjoyed the content, do like, comment, do comment, do subscribe. Hey, it's Christmas vacation. Give me a break, right? See y'all next time.